Hello guys, welcome to Anita Crochets. My name is Anita. Today I'm going to be teaching you something I have done before. It's the draped ruffle, called it a peplum skirt, and this time I'm making it in a very different version, and you guys will see it. So to start with, I'm going to be working with chunky robin 100% acrylic. This is size 4 yarn, and you can use any hook that is for size 4. I'm going to be working with a 3.5mm hook. You'll need your tape measure and scissors and a darning needle to weave in your ends. So to start with, so you will make a knot. All right, once you have that knot, you are going to work 10 chains. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. If you're working for a size large, I suggest you make up to 12 chains. And here into the third chain stitch from the hook, we shall work a double crochet and then work 1 double crochet into the next chain stitch. All right, 1 double crochet into the next. Literally we are going to work 1 double crochet into every chain stitch until we come to the end of the row. Here we shall chain 2 and turn our work 1/2 double crochet into the very first stitch, and then work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch until you come to the end of this row as well. You should have a total of 8 stitches on every row. If you're working for a size large and you work 12 chains to start with, you should have a total of 10 stitches for every row. And now here we have come to the end of our row. Chain 2, turn your work 1 double crochet into every chain stitch, into every stitch until you come to the end of the row. Please make sure you are not working this very tightly, because at the end of the day we want our waistband to make that stretch. So work this as loosely as possible, like literally loose as you can. Chain 2, turn your work 1/2 double crochet into every stitch until you come to the end of this row as well. So this is the pattern you are going to follow. 1 double crochets and then 1/2 double crochets for the next row. All right, so do this until it is to the size of the waist. If you are 24 waist, you have a 24 waist inches, literally just work this until you have 24 inches for your waistband. So literally we are working this to the coverage of the waist, not the hips, because at the end of the day the skirt we are making is going to have an increase around the hips. So make this to the size of your waist. Now let me meet you when you have your waist complete. I am making just something very small so I can show you guys how to maneuver, and then I'll get back and show you what to do. Now here, once you have your waistband complete, okay, you are going to turn this in out. Please make sure you're working this on the inside. Okay, so you turn this in out and you insert your hook into the very first stitch on the opposite piece right here, and now pull yarn over, pull through yarn like this. Okay, now start working your single crochets, making sure that you're inserting your hook into the stitches. Oh, sorry. So here, insert your hook. Make sure you're inserting your hook into both the pieces, and then work a single crochet to join the two. Okay, like this. Insert into both sides and work your single crochet to attach the two ends together. and finally right there. So you see how we have attached it, and now we have our waistband complete. What we shall do is we shall chain one and turn our work. Into the very first stitch we work 1 single crochet, and then work into the middle of the double crochet post we work 1 single crochet, and into the joint that's in between the half double crochet post and the double crochet post you work 1 single crochet, or you can just work 2 single crochets into every half double crochet and double crochet post all the way around. Okay, so we are just working onto this edge of the waistband before we can start working onto working the body of the skirt. 1 single crochet, okay, and then into the joint 1 single crochet, into the half double crochet post 1 single crochet, into the joint 1 single crochet, into the the double crochet post 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet into the joint of the two. So this is what we are going to do all the way around until you get back to this point, and that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. So now once you get to the end of it, you will work a slip stitch into the chain one that we created when we're starting the row, and here you will chain 2 and turn your work. Always turn your work for every row that you start. Okay, so into this very first stitch right here we shall work a double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get back to the point where you started from. And that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. So just work 1 double crochet into every post until you get back right here, and I'll meet you there and show you what to do. So as you can see, I have almost reached the point where I started from, so I'll work my last stitch. And now here I'm going to work a slip stitch into the chain 3 that we started with for this row, and I have worked my first row of the body of the skirt. Now here you will chain 2 and turn your work, but first of all you are going to count your stitches all the way around. Now this is what you do. You'll count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38. So I have 38 stitches all the way around, and what I'll do is I'll divide 38 by 2. It gives me 19. So that means I believe it gives me 19. As you can see, this the joint right here where I stitched these two things together is in the middle of my project, but at the back, the middle of the back, and I literally want this to be in the middle. So if I get 19 and count 19 from here, it will get me to this point. So that means this joint is going to go to the sides, which I don't want. All right, so that means I'm going to get 19 and divide 19 by 2 again, and that will give me about so basically I get 9 remainder 1. Okay, so if I get 9 remainder 1, that means from this point right here to here should be 9 stitches, and into the 10th is where I work my increase, so that if it is 9 here and 9 here, it gives me the total of 18, which I was looking for. So I guess you guys have understood the mathematics behind that. So now when I chain 2 and turn my work, I will work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch, and then work 1 double crochet into every stitch until I have 9 stitches in total. So it's up to you. I don't know how many you have. You could have like 20 stitches in total to get to the point where you have to work your increase. I have 9 because I'm working something small. Now here you count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Once I have 9, that means into the 10th I work my increase, and the increase is working 2 double crochets into the very same stitch. Okay, and now from here we are going to work a total of 18 stitches before we can work our increase for the left hip. Okay, I hope you guys really are understanding this whole thing of increases for the hips, because I think I've really talked about this several times. Almost in every tutorial I make about a skirt or shorts or something, I really do explain this, and I'm at a point where I feel like you guys should now be already well conversant with it. So count your stitches. If you do not get to understand this, please, you can check out more tutorials of mine that have shorts or skirts or something like that in them. I always do explain about the increase for the hips, and get to watch it and you'll see clearly what I am trying to mean. So we shall count our stitches: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 16 17. So once we have 17 stitches, and we meant to say 18, so once we have 18 stitches, into the 18th stitch we shall work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. All right, and from here we are going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until we come to the end of the row. And strictly, if you count your stitches, you'll find that they are 9 or 20 or whichever number that you have for your whole project. Okay, once you work your very last stitch, you will get here and now work a slip stitch. Now we have our second row complete. Okay, so to work our third row is we chain 2 and turn our work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch, and then continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get to the increase that we made. Okay, so once you are at the increase right here, as you can see, it is 2 double crochets into the very same stitch. Now into that increase is where you are going to work another increase, and that's 2 double crochets into the very same stitch, as you can see. Okay, you don't even have to count, it's very easy, you can just see where to place it. And now get to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until you get to the other side of the increase. That's on the right, for the right hip. I always say you work 2 rows of an increase and then 1 row of normal double crochets, but this time we are just working an increase until we have the hip size that we want, before we can now start working the normal rows. Okay, so this is where there is an increase for the right hip, and here we work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. Okay, and now from here we shall work 1 double crochet into every stitch until we get back to the point where we started from, and there we shall work a slip stitch to end the row. So we have it. Okay, here you work a slip stitch. Now chain 2, turn your work. You see that we are already having that sort of increase. See how it looks? Now here you work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch. This is not different from what we have done for the previous row. I am just showing you so you can now master the pattern. So you work 1 double crochet into every row until when you get to the point where we worked an increase previously. That's on the right hip. So okay, right here, that's where we have our increase. So we shall work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch, like that. And now from here we are going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until when we get to the other point where we worked an increase. That's for the left hip, and into that the increase right there we work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch, then work 1 double crochet into every stitch until when you get back to the point where you started your row from, work a slip stitch to end the row. So this is what you are going to do repeatedly until you have the width of the hips that you are working for. If you're working for a 40-inch hip, I would advise you work this until your project can actually stretch up to a 39-inch. Okay, so like you can see, I am working for a 39-inch hip. Okay, this is my whole entire skirt, and this is how it looks like. I worked, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Okay, so for me, I worked 11 rows in total, 11 rows of that increase. Okay, and you just have about 1 2 3 4. We have okay, I think I worked like 11 or 10 rows of an increase, or 11, and we just have about 2-3 rows of the increase. So you'll work this until you have this kind of width for your skirt, like a width you are confident your client can fit perfectly. Please don't over make something super wide, because at the end of the day, crochet does stretch, and when it stretches out and now no longer fits the client, that will be bad news. But now for me, I have my entire project is giving me about 17 inches. That gives me 34. Okay, so I am leaving 5 inches, about 5 inches for the stretch. All right, and that's what I think you guys should do as well. So you will work this until you are confident that you have the width of the hips that you want, and your skirt can stretch out to meet the exact inches that person has for their hips. Okay, so once you have that, from there you will work normal rows without working an increase. That means you'll be working 1 double crochet into every stitch until you come to the end of the row. Okay, and that you will do until you have the length of the skirt that you want. Personally, I am still making this a little longer. I think I'll add about like 6 or 8 rows before I can now be confident that this skirt is long enough for my client. So after you have worked your increase, please work normal rows, 1 double crochet into every stitch until you have the length of the skirt that you want, and that's where I'm going to meet you and show you what to do next. That's for the body of the skirt before I can start the peplum and the draping. So let me meet you guys there once you have that, and I'll just get to tell you how many rows I have for my whole entire skirt before I can now start the draping. Let me catch you guys there. So I have finished almost 3/4 of my skirt, and this is how it looks like. Okay, you can really see how the increase has given us that effect that we want, as you can see. So I have 27 rows in total, and in total, like from up here, from right here up to the bottom right here, I have 27 rows. So you can also keep track of what you want and also the length that you want your skirt to have, and you can see whether to add more rows or to just continue with what I have. Now once we get at this point, we are going to start our peplum bit. But before we start the peplum bit, I would like you guys to get a piece of yarn, okay, and make a couple of chains, probably 100 or something. So just work a number of chains, because I'm just making straps or strings or something that I am going to use for my draping. So I will need 2 of them because we are going to drap on both sides, on the left and the right. So just work a couple of chains so that it is fully draped before we can start working on the peplum. All right, so let me meet you there when you have all your strings ready, like 2 of them, and then I can show you what to do next. So I have finished my 2 strings right here. As you can see, what I am going to do is I am going to get to my side, like my hip, one of my hips, and look out for the last row on which I worked an increase. Okay, and as you can see, I think it is right here. This is it. So I am going to get one of my strings. You see the V right here? That's the V for my last increase. And this is what I am going to do. I am going to get one of my strings and pass it behind one of the double crochets that I worked for the V. Okay, please make sure the 2 ends are like balanced. Now we are going to go through into the next row and get through like that. Please make sure you are following this 1 stitch right here. Okay, we get through right here, come out, see that, and get through right here, go in. Oh okay, we go in and come out from here. Please make sure you are following a straight line for the stitches. See that? And then go into the next row like this, and then come out into the next row right there. You see that? It is more like you are hand stitching. Okay, so go in, but make sure you are following that very same stitch, and then come out. We are going to do this until we get down below. Go in and then come out, go in and then come out, go into the next, and then come out right here, then go in. Okay, so we have gotten this one side of the string to pass through like that. Okay, you can see it doesn't actually show. So we get back to this other end of the string, and again so we are going to make sure that it is only 1 stitch separating these 2 strings. Sorry, this 1 string, like these 2 sides of the string. So right here we go in, make sure it is 1 double crochet separating the 2, so that means we come out from here. Okay, and then we go in from here and then come out from there. See that? We go in and then we come out. This is going to be very fun making. This is how I work my draping. This is how I drap my outfits. Okay, so we go in and then come out, go in and come out. Oh, we have to come out from here. Okay, this is more like to give us that straight line that we want. So you should be very keen about which stitch you are getting in and out from. So as you can see now, we have this is how it is. Okay, so we are going to pull this end together, like pull it like this. So we just pull the strings right here like that. You can just pull one end of the string. So you see it's creating that effect that we want for our draping. Okay, see that? And that's what we want. Okay, so you pull one end to the length or shortness that you want. So on the side it will look well draped without showing any signs of yarn passing through there or what. It will just look very, very neat. Okay, and this is exactly what we are going to do for this other side of the skirt. We look for the very last row of increase that we worked on the right hip. So this is me looking for the very last V, and as you can see, this is it. So I'll get my string of yarn right here and then go through into this last double crochet and come out like that, just to make sure these two ends are meeting, like very well balanced. Okay, I'll just pull this like this, and now get one side of the string, start going in and out like I showed you. You go in right here and come out right there. You go in right here and come out right there. So this is going to be what you are going to do for the other end of the string. So I'll just let you work this and then drop your side very neatly like I have showed you how to drop. And I'm just going to come back and show you how to work your peplum bit. Okay, so let me meet you when you have finished to drop, and then we can go on. Okay, and then get to this side, do the same. It's very easy that way. So you get in and out, in and out, in and out. Make sure it's just one double crochet stitch separating the two strings from one another, because if you work more of those, it will show, your draping will show. So yes, so you get to pull one side of the string or two like that, so it creates that drap. And this is how your skirt is going to look like. Okay, so this is it. And now what we shall do is we shall tie this off like this. So one is like capable of draping it more and more given the length that they want for their skirt or for their draping, because the more you drap, the shorter the skirt becomes. So you can just leave this out for your client or make it a little shorter. I think I made a mistake. Or make it a little shorter, the strings shorter, so that you can make the strings shorter so that they don't look like this. So you can just cut them a little bit short like that. So now we are going to work on our peplum. All right, this is where I stopped, as you can see right here. Now for the peplum, we are going to work double crochets, but in a very different pattern. So to start your peplum bit, this is what you're going to do. You are going to chain 2, turn your work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Okay, now into the next stitch we work 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 2 double crochets into the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in the next. So this is the pattern we are going to follow all the way around until we get back to the point where we started from. So you're going to work all the way around. Please, you will leave these straps inside so that the draping doesn't show. So just work on into. So to start your second row of the peplum, you are going to chain 2, turn your work, work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch until you get to these 2 stitches of the previous row. That's where we are going to work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. So basically, if you do not have the time to count every stitch, you can just place 2 double crochets into the 2 double crochets of the previous row like this, and then from here you continue with 1 double crochet until you get to the 2 double crochets of the previous row right here. So here we work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch, and we continue with 1 double crochet into every stitch until when we get to the 2 double crochets on the other side that we worked for the previous row. So right here we work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. So we are going to continue with this very same pattern until we go all around like you have done for the very first row. Instead of working 2 double crochets and 1 double crochet in the next stitch, instead we are going to work 2 double crochets in one stitch and then 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. That means 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, then 2 double crochets in the third stitch. Okay, so let me let you work this until the end. Once you are at the end, you work a slip stitch to end your row and then work the third row. So I'll just come back and explain the third row and the fourth, or given how long you want your peplum to be, and then I'll show you how it all looks after a couple of rows. So this is how it looks, and this is my second row of the peplum, and you can see it's already getting those folds and frills that we want. So to work our third row, there is not much difference that we are going to make like we have been working the previous rows. This is what we shall do. We shall work 2 chains and then turn your work 1 double crochet into the very first stitch, and like I said, you work 1 double crochet until when you get to the 2 double crochets that are in one stitch of the previous row, and this is where they are. So I'll work 2 double crochets in this very same stitch. Okay, and like I said previously, it was 2 double crochets in one stitch and then 1 double crochet, then 2 and the second double crochet before we work 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. But as you can see now, we are going to work 3 double crochets. That's 1 and 2 and then 3. Those are 3 double crochets, and as you can see, the fourth stitch is where we have to put 2 double crochets in the very same stitch. So if you don't want to count still, you can just work 1 double crochet into every stitch until when you get to the 2 double crochets in one stitch on until when you get to the 2 double crochets that are in one stitch of the previous row. So you just work this until you get to the end of the row. Literally, this is what you're going to follow for the next 2-3 rows, given how long you want your peplum bit to be. If you want it short, you can just work this row and call it the end of your skirt. If you want it longer than this, you can just work like 1 or 2 more rows from here. So let me meet you there once I have my whole peplum bit complete, and then I'll show you the result of it. So I have come to the end of my skirt, and I worked 3 rows for the peplum, and that's how it looks like. As you can see, the frills, okay, and the draping is right here. You see the effect it does, and this is the top of my skirt. So you are welcome to add a drawstring right here if you want to. If you don't want, you can just leave it like this. And now you have your skirt complete. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope this is really helpful for all of you that have projects that you want and they include some sort of like draping. I hope this has been very helpful. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. Thank you. Goodbye.